And we're here with Conor Ryan. Conor, what is up?
Nothing much, man. What's going on with you? How's your quarantine going?
Oh, it's still going. It's great.
I
It's
thought you were
natural.
gonna I thought, we do this through Zoom. I thought you'd have like a huge beard, like kind of like Robin Williams in Jumanji or something like that. I feel like you've just been like stuck there for like months now.
It feels like I've been in here forever. I was thinking, it's funny. My dreams now is when I get to go out into the world. I can't go out into the world in real life. I have to do that in my dreams. It's funny you mentioned the beard aspect of it. I've never grown a beard. I mean, I can kinda. I'm not. It's not great, but I can. It's sort of like Sidney Crosby. His little
Yeah, it's not worth it when you get
didn't
the
work.
end result. Yeah.
So my goal, a lot of my friends have been doing Movember, which is a cause I love. And I was gonna do a mustache, and I actually for a few days didn't shave it. It looked crappy, whatever. Without even thinking about it, I just had to shave the rest of my face, and I did it so subconsciously. I just
You
shaved
blew
part of
it,
the
man.
mustache, and I was like, no,
Damn
that
it,
took
dude.
days. And there went that, and there went that. Because I'm in a hotel room. No, I actually had to put my lunch outside the door because it's the trash. So I had to
Mhm.
put my trash outside the door. I saw another human being and I jumped. I was like, whoa, whoa. I haven't seen, who are you?
All right.
So it's that weird phase where I'm just like, I'm not used to seeing humans. I'm not used to seeing people anymore. I've lost all social skills. So I'm going to be a wreck, I guess, when I go into the public world again. I'm not going to know how to interact even.
Godspeed, man. It's
Godspeed.
almost it's almost over, right?
It is. I was going to say, I think I'm out the 18th, but so when you listen to this, that'll be tomorrow. But I think they're making me stay the night of the 18th. Like the 18th is my
Ah,
last day. I believe that's what's happening. So they're trying to keep me in my prison forever. This has been a prison sentence. Um, yeah, it's been a prison sentence, but whatever. I'm doing what I can, I guess. And I've tested negative now 3 times, I think. So
not
knock on
bad.
wood, hoping to stay negative. If I test positive on the last day of this, I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
You'll have
I would
more
be.
time to grow the mustache, so gotta find the positive somewhere in there, right?
That's true. Movember would turn into like Mocember or something. I mean,
You should trademark that.
I gotta try. Don't no one who's anyone who's listening, don't steal that idea. That's brilliant. You know when you have a great idea and you don't want to
Hmm.
tell anybody because you don't want anyone to take it. I just blurted out a great idea. Pretend you didn't hear that because I'm gonna
There you
take
go.
it and use it as mine.
We'll edit this.
We'll edit this out. I'll edit that out so you guys don't hear it. So the Bruins obviously don't have a lot of news going on, but the beauty of a day like Monday is the release of the reverse retros, which we've been anticipating for a long time. We talked about this a few episodes ago, sort of discussing what the Bruins should do, what they, what would be the best option. We had a whole episode, I think, on jerseys, on our favorites, on our least favorites. That might have been on Poke the Bear. I get them mixed up, but
They all blend together.
they all blend together. The Bruins podcast. But Bruins released it. It was what we expected. I don't think this was like a big surprise to anyone. Most people, we all kind of wanted the '90s look.
Mhm.
I mean, you weren't surprised by this, were you?
No, I mean, I think we are all, I think, on the same wavelength. There's the Pooh Bear truthers of the people who were hoping for that. Thankfully, that did not happen. But I think the writing was on the wall, considering how many throwbacks the Bruins have had in the last decade that have focused on, 30s, 40s, 50s. They were due to bring in a design that kind of harkens back to that, Ray Bork, Kim Neely kind of era in the 80s and 90s. So that was definitely overdue. They were overdue to get a primarily gold sweater again for the first time in a while. So, yeah, nothing really shocking about it. I think they're definitely a good design. I'm putting I'm holding out on giving a full verdict because I want to see how they look like with the full ensemble, right? Like I want to see how they match with, the pants and the socks and all the other parts that add to it. But in terms of you see some of these other reverse retros they have out there, the Bruins very easily could have screwed this thing up, right?
Yeah, this
And
was easy to screw up.
yeah, yeah. So I think as a whole, it was, a different design, but one that's not too, the color pops. I think is what you want in a sweater like this. Brings back an era that I think a lot of Bruins fans either relate to or have fond memories of. So I think they did a good job of this. Again, I want to see how it looks when you have like, the players suited up in it. It's different when it's like a dude in jeans. Like you see it like, oh, I guess that's how I'd wear it. Yeah, but like I want to see how it actually looks like on the ice, because I remember when they unveiled the 2019 Winter Classics, they had like the video for it, and like they looked pretty neat. And I was like, yeah, I think I like those. And then I saw them like out on the ice. And like, oh, these are awesome. So I think it definitely, you have to see kind of in its full kind of setup to get the full verdict for it. But as a whole, I think they did a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, and what's funny is they had them come out as like they released the jerseys on like a model. They didn't release these on a player. They didn't have
It's tough to wrangle these guys these days.
Brad Marchand come in. They had some guy do it. But to me, I think this will pop on the ice if I had to guess, especially if they go with black pants. I do wonder if they stick with. I do wonder if they kind of go out on a limb and go with brown, but I don't think brown would look good with this color yellow.
No.
You'd look like a mustard man.
Yeah.
So I think black pants. Black helmet, yellow helmet.
Yeah.
No, black helmet would be the way to go. But I think that pops. I mean, it's shown to pop, and I think that will pop on the ice if I had to guess. But it will be interesting to see how it looks.
Bring back Meth Bear, which like
go back Meth Bear.
Yeah,
everyone's for it. I like the yellow back. I like the yellow base color for the jersey. I like that shade of yellow, and I'm glad that they didn't just do like black or yellow. I'm glad they didn't or black or white. I'm glad they didn't just like bring the jerseys back from the 90s and just like kind of leave them as is. As much as I love those jerseys, like it is cool that they reversed it, as is in the name,
right,
and had it be yellow, because I think it looks better. But
I think it also pops well too, just the fact that it was there was leaks that came in before. I think Pete Blackburn had like that first leak, and you looked at the color, and it was more just the way the photo was kind of set up, that it looked kind of like that more mustardy yellow that you maybe saw in like the 2010 when the classic ones. Like we'll see how that kind of looks on the ice, but it seems like it's a very vibrant color that I think that's what you got to go for in situations like this in terms of what these sweaters are going to be to get some buzz, and I think the Bruins did a good job with that.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the rest of the league, because this is, I think, the more interesting aspect of it. We knew what the Bruins were probably going to go with, and it's a good. I like it. I mean, I like the jersey, so it's not like there's a lot to rip on. There's not a lot to talk about. I mean, we knew this was happening, so let's transition right to the rest of the league. You want to talk about screwing up a jersey? I think the worst jersey, honestly, and I know people don't like it, but I think people a lot of times put other teams lower. I think the worst is the Maple Leafs. That jersey
that one's
stinks.
Freaking bad. Yeah.
That jersey stinks.
I just did like a top, 3 favorite and least favorite. And I think Maple Leafs, were maybe 4, so they just missed the list. But like there's a lot of really shitty sweaters. Like there's a lot that are like kind of clumped at the bottom. And Toronto's right there. I mean, like that's when you just look at it and you're like, oh, okay. They're like, you could, again, it's not like Toronto has had this crazy kind of assortment of different sweaters or designs. Like the Bruins, for being an original 6 team, have generally been have not been afraid to switch things up quite a bit over the years, right? Toronto really isn't that they don't stray too much from the formula, but again, this is a thing where the NHL, right? You need something to create some buzz during the doldrums that is this winter. You need to get some buzz when the season finally gets off the ground. Like you see a few of these other designs, like this is the chance for you to make something like outlandish. Like, even if it's like, let's say the Bruins brought back Pooh Bear, which like I'd be like, holy shit, what are you doing? But like I would also just be like, whatever. Like it's still like
reaction.
A fun thing.
You get a huge reaction out of it.
It would be so outlandishly chaotic that I would hate it, but I would also be like just enthralled by the fact that they went for it. There's a few of these teams that I think did well because they just went for it in their designs. And when you see a team like Toronto that has a huge base, has a lot of fans, you get a lot of reaction with whatever decision you went with for it, to have just kind of like a regular plain design like that.
Well, it also really looks crap. I mean, that's the thing. Like the leaf is too big. They went with like that crap gray down each arm. I mean, it doesn't flow. Like, and that's the thing. I give a lot of these original 6 teams some leeway, because teams like the Red Wings, the Habs, the Maple Leafs have not strayed far from where they their logos. I mean, the logos haven't changed in a fucking century. So it is tough to, I guess, make those jerseys for those teams that are, out of the box and everything. But I just look at the Maple Leafs, and as you said, they're a attention they get a lot of attention. They have a huge market, a huge fan base, and you release a jersey that is not that different from past ones and just kind of bleh. I mean, just nothing to it, and sort of crap.
I mean, it's the same as the Red Wings, right? I mean, you look at that team; they've got as much variance in their like wardrobe as Steve Jobs, right? It's the same shit for like a century, but you roll out a sweater like that. Again, another team that has a big fan base that needs any sort of buzz, right? That team has got a ways to go before they're back to kind of what they were before, and you bring out this like generic gray. It looks like a practice sweater. It's
it is. No, it's a practice sweater.
Who is buying that thing? And for as generic as the Red Wings sweaters usually are, I mean, they rolled out some great designs when they had the Winter Classic. Like even both their ones they had. The one was like the huge like red D was great, and then they had the one that was like the primary red, but like the Red Wings logo was kind of
had the logo.
Yeah, and it
looked like a rolling
kind of
type
up
thing.
A little bit. Yeah, both those were great. I mean, any of these teams there's rarely been like complete swing and misses in terms of Winter Classic sweaters. I think like why aren't all these teams that have done those before just looked at those and be like, let's tweak that a little bit, maybe switch the colors up, but let's stay with that design. Like who on the Red Wings like, you know what, we need practice sweaters. We need guys to these are going to sell like hotcakes in the middle of a global pandemic and a major recession. People are going to be lining up to get these boring ass jerseys.
That it's incredible because that kind of encapsulates the Red Wings right now. Just boring, sucky, and boring. That is like the Red Wings reverse retro. It's almost instead of reverse retro, they just kind of like, hey, translate from the team on the ice to the team, to the jersey, and what it brings up for you. But they were that jersey also struck me as just like at least I think the Maple Leafs was worse. And granted, the Maple Leafs changed it up, but it just looks terrible. Whereas the Red Wings. It's just nothing. It's just nothing. It's like the logo on a white jersey.
They had like someone like make the design in paint, and like they saved the wrong file, and like it was before they started, and like here it is, and like the NHL just went with like,
It's like those jerseys you buy at like 7-Eleven or like like the local Bob's, and it's on discount.
It is a Bob's. You got that on like Bob's on Route 1, like you right before going to Kowloon, stopping at the Bob's right there. You have to get a Red Wings because you got someone coming over from the Midwest for Christmas, and you bought that for like $9.99. That's what that sweater is like.
I remember there were kids like I'll never forget like in elementary school who would come into class with like a hat. It was like a Boston hat, but it was just like a generic B with like a random color on it, and they'd be like, "Oh, look at my Red Sox hat." I'm like, "Bro, that's like that you got that at like Sunoco." I mean, I don't know. Like you didn't. You got that for like $20. You got that for like $10.
You got it at Cumberland Farms on the way over here. Just go on the Red Sox website. It's not that hard to find a Red Sox hat.
It isn't, no, but I remember that like vividly being like, that is the fakest like Boston sports fan hat I've ever seen in my life. When I was younger, I used to look down upon those kids like it was my job. And I had to. I mean, you're going to wear that hat. I don't care what your income is. I don't care who you are. You can't wear that hat.
It's like the Rob Lowe like NFL like hat that he has that just says NFL.
Or like the guy,
just a big baseball.
The guy who oh my God, his name escapes me. And someone will tweet this at me. Maybe you'll remember him. The guy who catches all those foul balls at baseball games. Zach Campbell. Campbell. The dude goes to the park with
who fights children to catch like a Mookie Betts home run.
Yeah, he has a YouTube channel where he goes to ballparks and like fights children, and it's basically like he brings like it's like A's versus Angels. He'll bring like an A's jersey with an A's hat and an Angels jersey with an Angels hat, and then like a generic MLB hat. So if an umpire throws up to him, like what a weird dude. But I guess we're getting off the path here. So what were your bottom three? I'm very interested to hear this. If the Red Wings weren't there, I mean, if the Maple Leafs weren't there.
So the three that I have, and again, I will probably, I think, disagree because there's a lot that I think are kind of clumped at the bottom. So I had Red Wings number one because I think those are just so horrendously generic and boring. Two, I actually had with Islanders because they literally are not any different. Like the color scheme's a little bit different, but like, again, you have this window to get creative. Like this was the perfect opportunity to bring back the fisherman
logo,
right? Like that, it's easy. Like how this, like the meeting for the Islanders to design this sweater should have taken 5 minutes of like, yeah, the fisherman, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. That's all it should be. Like, why? Like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna bring back the same boring sweater, and we're just gonna tweak it a little bit. It's like, okay,
That is what they did.
That's, I mean, talk about like just like completely messing up like a quality chance. It's not like the Islanders had the pressure to like bring in a new sweater by themselves. It was a league-wide 31 teams bringing out a jersey at the same time. Like, get creative during this.
I know.
So Islanders, I think, are number 2. And then number 3 for me, I hate the Dallas Stars one. It's just so...
Oh, that sucks.
I mean, maybe they unveiled those crazy sweaters, the ones that are like neon. They look like they're sponsored by like Monster Energy. I was like, maybe they just used all like the dye for like those, and they just forgot to do it for these new like silver and white ones, because they're, you're gonna need to like bring back like the glowing puck technology to find the stars on the ice. Like, they're just so like jarring, but jarring in a bad way, right? It's the colors aren't popping because there are no friggin' colors with that sweater. So I think the Stars are another one. I think they dropped the ball, and that's a team that could have gotten creative in terms of something with the North Stars, or there's a whole bunch of different color schemes they could have looked into for that. So the fact that it's just like this all white kind of design, I wasn't really a big fan of that one.
Yeah, I mean, again, for a lot of these teams that aren't original 6 teams or historic teams, you can, like, this is when you can kind of let your creativity flow, and we see that. I mean, the Ducks, whether you like the jersey or not, went for it.
Yeah, exactly.
They just went for it. Like, that is a 4th and 7 that you just went for. And it remains to be seen whether or not they converted on the play. But
yes.
Whether that jersey looks terrible on the ice or whether it looks amazing, I will always give that team credit for just taking a huge chance and being like, we're not going to center anything. We're just going to have a duck flying out of the water in the middle of the, from the bottom of the jersey.
We're going to take a Windows 95 clip art and just smack it on board, like right in the middle of the jersey, and be like, this is good to go. Print it.
It's funny. I think that there were probably more good jerseys than bad, actually.
Yeah.
And maybe we disagree there. To me, I mean, it's not in my top 5, but I will give the Panthers credit. That is a lot of people have that in their top 5. That is a really nice jersey. Mm-hmm. I will also give the Buffalo Sabres credit. I've not heard much about the Sabres, and I think that's a solid jersey. I like that logo. I like the things on the side. It's got the blades going across. I like that. I don't think that it's, it's not a huge chance they took. I guess the thing at the bottom where it says Buffalo and the blue is kind of weird.
You never want to openly rep Buffalo anyway.
Yes, you should
not. It's like repping New Jersey or something like that.
It's true, which is, yeah. By the way, New Jersey's jerseys were great. I love the green.
Those are going to sell so well during the Christmas season too, especially. Those are great with the green color scheme.
So, were there any others that you thought were suck that didn't? I mean, the Winnipeg Jets to me was a little weird.
One, it's like all gray, right? Or it's just like a boring color scheme. That's one where you think they would switch things up a little bit with their color design. Like, do something more colorful. You're already kind of drab anyway, like the way those sweaters usually are. This one I think is personal preference for me, so feel free to disagree. But also, I'm sick and tired of the Hurricanes just bringing the Whalers back.
I'm so with you on that.
And I'm probably a hypocrite because I'm sick and tired of the Hurricanes bringing back the Whalers. But like, I know you're really high on the Avs ones, right? The Nordiques. So like, I have those like at like number 5 for me because I still have that criteria. But at least the Avs don't market the shit out of the Nordiques, right? Like, I think that's a difference, right? So like, they're not in my top 3 because of that reasoning, but I still give them 5 because it was creative. It like pays proper tribute without like going overboard or what literally the Hurricanes tweeted out like them playing Brass Bonanza. Like, bro, it's not your fucking team, man. Like,
that's what I don't understand. They just keep profiting off the Whalers. It is incredible to me. And I get and the thing is, the reason I have the Nordiques or the Avalanche high is because they have never used the Nordiques logo on a jersey before. This is the first time they're doing that, and they're paying homage to it. The Hurricanes, they have a Whalers jersey already, and they consistently sell merch. They consistently use the logo. It is like their scapegoat on everything. And I saw Brett Finger tweet this from he's a reporter down in Carolina with the Hurricanes. He said the same thing. Like, I'd love to see the Hurricanes come up with a jersey a throwback jersey that isn't the Whalers. Why?
Yeah.
Like you're a creative team. Everyone loves you. Everyone loves the Hurricanes. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
Just don't do the same stuff you
Yeah.
always do.
And I mean,
That's, I feel like, what they
the
did.
Whalers logo is an all timer, right? It's classic. Like you still see it on the ice when like the Hurricanes come up here and they got those Whalers throwback. It's fantastic, but like, come on, guys! Like, it's not. I know, like, I'm also passionate. My girlfriend's from Seattle, so like, she's still mad at the Thunder for taking the Supersonics. But like, imagine if OKC Thunder like brought in like retro supersonic stuff, like people would be
Get
pissed.
killed.
It's like,
Get
yeah,
killed.
exactly. So
Well, that's the thing. It's funny because
think of something else.
because it's Hartford. I wonder if like Carolina came from a bigger market, like a Seattle or like a Kansas City or somewhere different that's a little bit bigger than Hartford, Connecticut. I wonder if it would be as accepted. And it's not even that accepted. It's just that like there hasn't been that big of an outrage, I guess, at them doing this.
It's not like the major city of Hartford is like
yes
rioting in the streets, but still It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah. So, and I'll also give like the Blue Jackets credit. Cool color scheme on the jersey. Went back to the old Blue Jackets logo. Red is the primary color. I'll give them that. It's not my top 5. It's probably not my top 10, but I like that. I don't think there were any other sucky ones. I think people are kind of split on the Minnesota Wild because they had green and yellow. I like those a lot. I like those a lot.
See, that's the thing too, where I have those actually at number 3 for me because one, the Wild are so frigging boring anyway that I'll take anything that's a little bit different from them, and that's one of like paying tribute to an old team there without going overboard. Because again, I really don't know why Dallas didn't do anything with like a North Star tribute, but the fact that Minnesota, pays tribute to the team that was there before them with going with that color scheme, I think that's like a nice touch, and it creates something a little bit different. It pops a little bit more. So I actually really like the Wild with what they did with that, and I think that's the right way to pay tribute to a team that's not yours, but I think for people in your market, that's something they care about and resonates with a lot of people with those old North Star teams. So that's, I think, how you properly do a throwback, especially when it's not really your property, right?
Yeah, no. So I like the Wild one. I saw some different reaction, but I really did like the one.
People were slapping like the Subway logo on the front of it. It was Tony X, I think, tweeted a picture, and it was like just the Subway, and like the colors fit perfectly. I was like, ah, shit. After I already wrote like my ranking of like having them at number 3, but what are you gonna do?
So the other one actually that's sucky, and it's boring than anything. The Sharks. I think any jersey where there's a lot of gray. I hate gray on jerseys. And the Sharks are kind of that team that I really. They have a cool color. I mean, they have the blue. They have the I guess they just have the blue. But you can do stuff with that blue.
You can do a lot with that sweater.
And they made it gray, and it's just like, I don't. And that's a weird time because the Sharks are. They have some star players, but they are kind of boring also because they suck. So it's this weird, like, I was not a huge fan of the Sharks one. I don't know if it would be in my, like, it's not my bottom 3, but it's boring. There's no need for it.
They could have done a lot more.
Exactly. That's why I wish more teams looked at it like that. Like, if you're the San Jose Sharks, go crazy with it. Like, this is where you either make a kick-ass jersey or you make a jersey that you look back on and go, what the hell were we thinking? Like, I look at a team like the Coyotes. That is a jersey that is, a complete leap. I mean, that is a ballsy jersey by them to make. And I like it a lot, by the way. We'll see how it looks on the ice, but I do like it. But if that's a jersey that looks terrible and they hate it and it looks bad on the ice, you'll look back at that in 20 years and laugh at it. Like, oh my God, remember when? Like, that's kind of the point of these jerseys is you either make a great legendary jersey or you look back at it and laugh in 10 years and like, what the hell was that? Right. So I like the Coyotes one. I think it looks cool. That is a jersey that if I was, entering college as a freshman and I wanted to look cool at Darty's, that might be the jersey that I order. But it's still a sick jersey. I'll give it that. So what are your top jerseys? I'm interested to hear this.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll do like top 5. The one that just missed the cut for top 5 is Rangers because I love the I don't love it, but it's good for them to bring back the Lady Liberty sweater. I think that was they were due for that. That was, again, it's like the Islanders. That was an easy decision, right?
Yes.
That meeting had to have taken 2 minutes of like, we haven't brought it back. Oh, okay, yeah, print it. Like that's all it had to be. I don't know why the Islanders didn't just go with that for their design. But so I have Rangers at 6. Avs, I have at 5 with that, as I said, with the ranking before that. 4 I actually have is the Canadiens, which I think
Yes.
that's one where we've talked about all these original 6 teams that have had classic designs and how they're kind of limited in that regard. It's like, well, Montreal did everything you kind of want with a reverse retro, right? Like they switched the colors around. It's, I think on their release, they said it pays homage to, I think, their first sweater from like 1909 or something like that. Like that was kind of what their color scheme was. And it's also more of a design you saw from them from, I think it was like 1975 to like 2005. It was, it's definitely different, but with those colors, it stands out. It's very, very different. And I think that's exactly what you want for a reverse retro. There's not a lot of teams that can say they have a lot of retro jerseys out there. Montreal took that very literally and made a design that I think pops well. It's clean. They already have a classic design anyway, but I think that's what you're looking for a team that maybe doesn't have the most diverse wardrobe. I think they hit it out of the park with that one.
And then you're 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah, so 3 as wild as I said. I like how I think that's the proper way to kind of pay homage to a team that used to be in that area. 2, I have the Blues because I think that's one where, again, just go for it. Like even that one, I don't think was a favorite of the Blues when they had it, like that primary red. But I think it's taking one that people were kind of iffy about and then just like cranking like the meter up to 10 with it, right? In terms of just having it be all red. They have like the trumpets on the side with the emblem. So I think
what are they going to be called? The Reds now?
it's like that's again one word that you look back at 10 years and be like, what the fuck was that? But you know what? Just go for it. The Blues already have really clean design for most of their sweaters, but I think that's one where it's just you completely going for it and it working out pretty well. And it's different. It stands out, which I think is what you're looking for here. And then number 1 I have is the Kings. I think that sweater is awesome. It's, again, we look at a few of these teams that have kind of a drab design now, like the Kings, where it's silver and black. You're bringing back colors that pop. It's a classic design from the 80s and 90s. Everyone loves those. I think everyone, when they play like NHL and you play as the Kings, you always switch the purple and gold, right? I mean,
oh yes,
without a doubt, right? So
and it's funny because in my Be a Pro, I just got drafted number 2 overall by the Kings. So
there you go.
Now I know what jersey I'm going to be wearing.
You didn't get number 1.
So don't get me started on this. I had an incredible Memorial Cup. That's how they judge where you get drafted. I think I had an insane amount of points in like 4 games, whatever it was. So I have an interview.
33 points in like 5 games.
Yeah, probably something along that lines. I had to cut the period lengths down because it was just getting to be scoring too much. But
very humble of you.
Yes, they have us. They have us like do these like BS interviews with teams. And my only interview was the Rangers and the Kings. And the Rangers like, oh, we're very excited to select you, like all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Draft comes around. They passed on me at number 1. I was kind of bullshit about it. I was like, the hell? Like, are you serious? So now my career goal is to just ruin the New York Rangers. And that's sort of my motivation for playing Be a Pro for like the 4th straight year and just dominate. But I want to do it in spite of the Rangers. So yes, I love those rankings. I think the Kings jerseys are awesome. I loved those. I think the reason that I put the Avalanche and Canadiens 1 and 2 above it, I think the reason the Avalanche was good just because they've never done the Nordiques before. It was a nice homage. They just changed the color of the Nordique to their color, their purple, whatever it is. So I'll give them that. It was creative. They went for it. And the Canadiens, because I think these original 6 teams, like the Habs, like the Maple Leafs, like the Red Wings, they don't have a lot to work with. And when you can pull off something like this and make it look good and have it pop and work well together and have the colors work, I give a lot of credit for that because, you don't have the creative license, I guess, that a team like the Ducks have or the Coyotes have. So in that sense, they did a great job. 3 is where I had the Kings. Maybe if I, that's probably going to end up being my number 1 at some point. I mean, that jersey is sick. And then 4 and 5, I put Rangers and Devils. Rangers, I give them that because the Liberty. And 5, the Devils. I think the green looks great on that jersey. But again, as you said, the Wild look great. A lot of people have the Panthers up there as well. I think that jersey looks good too. I just don't think it pops. I think it's good. I think it's a maybe top 10 jersey for sure. But
it's also the Panthers, which like no one gets really hyped about them anyway. So
yes, like that's another thing about the team like the Panthers. Like I don't care really. Like
Yeah.
it's the Panthers, whatever.
Neither do their fans. So yeah,
They don't care either. All 7 of them, they don't care. So the Blue Jackets as well, I thought, as we said, looked good. So in my opinion, I mean, I think they did well with these jerseys as a whole. Some teams we didn't mention, the Flames. The Flames
those were pretty good.
They were solid. They were fine. The Blackhawks were boring to me. I did not like the Blackhawks. I didn't like how they released it with the person turned around.
Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe read the room, guys. So yeah, we're just gonna. Yeah, everyone buys those sweaters just to get like the look at the back because there's so much design on the back there. Good job, guys.
Have they not seen Miracle? It's not about the name on the back, but the name on the front. Come on, everybody knows that. The Oilers stuck with what they always. I thought that was boring. They did nothing to it. That's whatever. I think it would suck to be in a market where you're in a position to do something exciting. Not to say that they were in a position to do something exciting because they've always had the same type of logo. Mm-hmm. But if you're in a market where there's like real chance to do something cool with a jersey and you just come out with a bland, like regular logo, like the Islanders. Yeah. The Islanders are the perfect example of this. I think the Oilers as well. The Predators, the same thing. I mean, the Predators didn't do anything different really. They just made it yellow. I mean, I didn't think that was like. I don't think we're not gonna watch a game that they're in with the reverse retros and be like, oh my god, those are the reverse retros. Like we'll probably be like, are those the reverse retros? Like it's just, that's when you don't really don't want it. The Senators. This was a jersey that at first glance I was like, I like the red. But then you realize it's kind of boring. It's just got the logo in the middle. Yeah,
which I like. I like how they're bringing back that old logo, but it doesn't really move the needle in terms of what they're doing.
No, it doesn't. And I think their new home jerseys look terrible, where it's like the tiny little Senator in the middle. And then you have the Flyers and the Penguins. Flyers looks okay, looks fine. Penguins have the go figure. Pittsburgh has the thing across the jersey.
The descending font.
One jersey I forgot to mention that I really like. Actually, a few. If you can't tell, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. I'm looking to the side because I'm looking at the Twitter thread just to make sure I don't miss anything. I think the teams at the bottom of like the alphabetical order had some of the best jerseys. I love the Lightning jersey. I love that jersey from like the mid 2000s. I think that looks good. I don't know about you. I mean, maybe you think it's just average, but I really like that jersey. I don't know if it'd be top 10, but I think it'd be like 11 or 12.
Yeah, I feel like that's one that's kind of – I always view that one as a little bit safe, but it's good to at least bring back that classic like mid-2000s logo at the very least. I feel like that's a team that also could have gone like wild with their
Yes.
I mean, like I love when they brought in like the powder blue they have or kind of the lighter blue design. So like that. So they could have done something probably a little bit more dramatic, but they're also the reigning cup champions. They can kind of do whatever the fuck they want to do. So
yeah, I loved their alternates that you should just say bolts. I mean, granted they wouldn't do that for this because it's too soon, but I loved that jersey. I hope they bring that back someday. You know what's funny? The reaction to this jersey was not great, but I don't mind it. And maybe I'll hate it on the ice. Maybe it'll suck on the ice. But the Canucks have a cool little color scheme. Mm-hmm. And they have, green and blue are their main things. And granted, it's the regular logo in the middle. They probably could have done a little bit more. But I do like the blue with the green. I like that jersey. It's not, it's not my favorite, but I like it.
It switches things up. You know what? It's creative. Like, it's different. That's all we're asking for here. Just to be different.
It'd be different. So I think two other jerseys that people have generally liked, and I like as well. I like the Vegas jersey. Yeah. It's a different logo. They've never had that logo before, but if that's going to be their secondary logo, then go for it. I like it. They can kind of forge their own future here because they're making future retros.
They gotta pay royalties to Marc-Andre Fleury for that though, with like having the sword go through his back. Because that's kind of maybe what inspired it.
Maybe you can put someone's name on the sword.
Yeah,
that is an interesting Tabor across the sword. That's
exactly.
That's interesting. I didn't even think of that. Damn, you should tweet that. It'd be interesting. And then the Capitals jersey. A lot of people love that. I think that looks great. Red, white, and blue has the old bird on it. So I'll give them props for that. That looks cool. It's kind of a merge between those old jerseys that I thought were ugly as hell.
Oh, that was the worst part of the early years of Ovechkin when you have all those highlights like the goal that everyone knows from Ovechkin with those hideous sweaters on.
Yes. Yeah. So those I hated those, but if you want to put that logo with like the current color scheme, I think that's a good move. So overall, I give the NHL a good job on this. I think they're interesting jerseys. It's funny, when I opened up the thread this morning and initially saw the Ducks one, I was like, oh my God, we're in for it. Like, this is going to be crazy.
Right.
And it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. There's some crazy ones. There's a lot of safe ones. There's some really good ones. And there are some that they didn't do anything to. So
they did nothing.
So that is the jerseys. There's not else much more we can say on the jerseys. It's kind of the way it is. It's just, we'll wait to see how they look on the ice, I guess.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we get some, as we get closer to training camp, whenever the hell that is, we'll get some probably shots of, players in it with the full ensemble on, and we can probably get a better view of what to expect with them. Because I think once you get the whole kind of setup, especially when they're on the ice, I think it's going to definitely pop quite a bit.
It stinks because usually in typical times, you get like the pictures of the players, doing funny poses with them. I remember last year with the alternate, you had them sitting and like joking in the locker room, and you have like a lot of these different like poses and stuff, and those can be fun and help promote the jersey. And this year you don't have that, obviously, because of COVID, but nonetheless, I like the jersey. I like the Bruins jersey. I would say Bruins would probably be in my top 10. Yeah. I will give the Bruins top 10 definitely, maybe top 7 in there somewhere. I'm not going through and making a whole jersey ranking because they always change. I mean, some days I hate these jerseys, some days I like them, so it's hard to judge. But that is the jersey episode. That is Reverse Retro. Welcome back. Connor, before you head out, is there anything you would like to plug before I let you go?
Yeah, we're going to have, obviously today we have a jersey rankings, and we have a look back at some of the best Bruins sweaters of all time over at BS but this week we're going to have more kind of rankings and breakdowns of, I think we're going to take a deep dive into the best trades of the post-lockout era for the Bruins. So
Sagan number 1.
Oh, of course. I mean, way to spoil it, Evan. But so we're going to be doing a series on that, and we'll have a whole bunch of fresh content on the site throughout this week and in the coming weeks as we wait for more concrete news on when the hell the 2020-21 season's going to get off the ground. But so you can subscribe over at bostonsportsjournal.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at ConnorRyan_93.
You can go do that and go look forward to those trade rankings. And for CLNS Media, I'm Evan Marinofsky. You Bruins Beat listeners, have a great rest of your week.